Okay, look, cause I ain't answering. I'ma probably tell your bitch I hate it quick and then I throw.
Welcome to another episode of Three Aficionados. I'm Steve Yip, and I'm joined here by Peter Pitton and Daniel Ross with his ever-changing, lovely backgrounds. We talk about all things analog, cars, watches, random beers, and today we're going to be talking about winding down the 2021 and what is going to be coming and going on the wrist and in the garage. And I think with that, let's pop it all off. Let's see if Daniel can actually get this one on time. We're going to do a 3, 2, 1. And okay, on 1, that's when you go 3, 2, 1. You'll note that I'm not drinking random wine. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I'm still sporting the Leffa here. And Daniel, I'd like to hear you pronounce the thing that you're about to put in your mouth.
It's a Erdinger.
That's exactly what I was imagining.
One more time, that's an Erdinger. Yeah. Not an Erdingong. Not an Erdinger.
We were just talking about.
I guess I'm trying to make jokes.
We were just talking about Peter's pranks and what he pulls and puts on people's windows, which are usually sexual objects. And I think we just have a new name for your next prank there. Passing around dildos, Vagisil, and Erdinger. What is in your hand? Erdonger. What's Peter sporting here?
It's nothing exciting tonight, boys. Just the lemon White Claw. I need to get on the exciting beer train here because I actually do like beer, but then I forget to go to the liquor store before we film, so it's kind of a catch-22. But that's okay. At least we got something. So
that's okay.
You're here to represent the university crowd and the guys who go wakeboarding.
You're the youthful one in the group here. We're just the old fucks. Speaking of old fucks, I love Daniel's very vintage, very mature and hipster at the same time, old fuckery. He's sporting some clothing apparel that I imagine he got from his Chronica. What do you got?
Right. My father decided to gift me a bunch of Land Rover gear. So I really like it. The hat's awesome. It's like a nice wool hat, like that Scottish kind of hat.
It's like itchy.
Huh?
It's itchy.
Yeah, it is, but it's not so bad, and I'm sure that I'll just get used to it.
It looks good on you. Are you trying to drop hints of like what you'd like for the next Chronica?
No, about 6 or 7 years ago, a big boy Range Rover came across my attention, and I almost had it purchased. Had an inspection done on it, and found that the steering rack had cracked on it, and it was just out of warranty. And it was going to be just over half the purchasing cost of the vehicle in order to have that fixed. So I thought to myself, I think I'll avoid the Range Rover train for a while until I can afford to drive it without worrying about it,
What else is cracked on that thing? I've never heard of a cracked steering rack, but it would happen on a Land Rover.
They make vehicles that are amazing, but they do have a bit of a reliability issue reputation, unfortunately. Character, yeah, that's right. All my cars break down. I love it.
You get to experience the character of your mechanic more often than not.
Yeah, that's right. Tony. Fix it again, Tony.
I don't think it's Tony working on your Land Rover.
All right.
So what are we sporting on the wrist today, boys? What's Peter Pitton matching his mustache with today?
Rocking the SKX for the boys there. Thought I would bring it. I don't know. I've not worn this watch in so freaking long. I thought I would bring it out. It's the Pepsi version. So it's pretty cool. I like this watch. I've had it for a long time. I feel like it is more stretched out because it does not want to stay on my wrist very nice. So I feel like I need to do some adjustments on that, but that's okay.
That's after the donger.
Exactly, right? No, what's on your guys' wrist?
It's looking good on you. I could spot that Jubilee a mile away. I was like, there's some sort of Pepsi going on here.
I'm a big Jubilee fan. I really enjoy the comfort of the Jubilee is just, it's definitely there for sure. Like I would say
once you have all your wrist hair ripped out completely, you just need to make sure that you are completely hairless like a dolphin.
Yeah, exactly.
This has to be all part of your regular body hair maintenance, you know, trimming the wrist hair.
Mm-hmm.
What's good in taking those photos for Instagram if it's just like a gorilla arm encasing a watch? No one wants to see that.
Seiko needs to partner with Manscaping, I think. You know, I feel like there's a new tool watch that could really be used here.
Trim your wrists by Seiko.
Yeah, trim all your things. Anything that you can fit a Jubilee around.
I've got my classic BMW Chronograph on today. Nothing that can compete with that SKX, which I love so much, but I still like wearing this quite a lot.
And
so, what about you, Steve?
Your hairy forearms there.
It does go well, yeah. Thank you very much.
Very nice. I like it. You're very automotive inspired here today. Got the Land Rover T-shirt, hat, and the BMW watch.
And as we all know, the X5 early platform was built on the Land Rover, so it's all in the family in some way, right?
And
Land Rover helped BMW launch their off-road X lineup with the X5 chassis. So it's a neat piece of history, I think.
And you got your Dodge cowboy hat hanging there in the background too. Pretty sure they have not collaborated.
No. I had a Jeep for a while back when I was at university, but I stay away from Dodge basically.
That definitely would overlap. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pulling the typical dipshit douche move. I'm sporting two watches. We'll start with the one that I think I wanted to wear for sentimental reasons and because it's a New Year's episode. So this means quite a bit to me, even though Daniel shit on it. Didn't know that I had it, but I'm also getting paged at the same time. So if you're wondering what that vibrating noise is, it's the pager here. I'm putting it up to the camera, but I think the mic is somewhere down lower here. Let's just make sure that it's not urgent. But this is the Casio Calculator gold plated wristwatch that Peter bought me and bribed me for the good chemo. And we kind of commemorated it, I guess. It was like a celebratory watch that he picked me up, and I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. I have it normally on my mantle in my, I don't know what it is, my library / drinking room / ridiculous privilege room, but it's nice. I have it right next to my grandfather's pipe. So it's a pretty cool watch. I thought it was good to wear for the New Year's episode and
cool.
Calculating out doses of chemo and stuff like that. I still don't know how to use the calculator function.
I don't think I've ever used it either, but it's cool to wear, right?
Absolutely. Makes me feel like I'm in Back to the Future.
I want to just clarify, I was not shitting on it. You can make jokes without shitting on something, even if you're giving it a hard time. We're Canadians. That's how we work.
We're talking about sex stuff again, right? But
that's right.
Erdinger aside, let's go to the other wrist, just because we got to go full douche. I just realized I don't think I've ever worn it on the show, but I am also matching Peter on the other wrist. Even though Peter doesn't have the other watch, you have the calculator watch, but I am also sporting a Jubilee. But I am sporting the more douchey Jubilee, the one that doesn't remove your hair. This feels like silk on your wrist. Also still sounding very sexual. But this is the Pepsi BLRO ceramic bezel GMT. And initially when I picked it up, and before I picked it up, I didn't quite get these. I kind of got the 1675 more, but owning it, it is an amazing watch, and it almost never loses my circulation. Never leaves my circulation. Never loses my circulation would be different. It's when I hemorrhage watches, and hopefully I don't have to do that in the near future. But I like it a lot. It's super comfortable, super practical, and it's sporty. And I really like the red and blue. And I was just randomly wearing it today, and I thought, why not keep wearing it? But it has nothing to do with New Year's, I don't think. But I just enjoy wearing it, and it was a nice change on the wrist. So I'm wearing the double watches. Got the Casio and I got the BLRO.
2 thumbs up to that.
Would your wife be seen out in public with you right now?
Most definitely not. That's why I only do the double wristing usually with you guys.
And no Pepsis either.
Double wristing and double fisting is the name of the 3 aficionados. That's our next slogan. It was a short runner-up to Pop It Off. There was Pop It Off, and there was double wristing and double fisting. And we thought that this was going to be a little bit more of a family production. So turns out when you introduce the beer, it's a backslide here. This is just a reminder that this is only me speaking and not the words of AHS. So let's get into the news today, boys. So I think that there's no major earth-shattering news, but I think things that are definitely worth discussing. And I'd like to really invite a bit of a rant. I think this is overdue for Peter to just lay right into the ridiculous watch hype. And that is the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Tiffany dial. We know that this was going to go through the roof after the Patek Philippe Tiffany dial Nautilus. So the 124300 sold at Phillips. And Peter, do you want to go ahead and just cry a little bit about how your aspiring watch that you had on the top of your list just slid completely outside of your grips?
Yeah, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, it was to the point where like it was like maybe like on like the slightest bit of like achievable level, but like this is just like gone mad. And the one thing I see about it too that I just don't understand is, for the same price, like if you were to actually have to spend like that much money on this, you could get like so much more, like for the exact same price. It's like, I just don't understand. It's like, it's no complication. It's nothing. It's literally just an Oyster Perpetual. Like, I just like, it's mind blowing to me how much it is. I just don't get it.
It's all for
it is.
color.
That's exactly it. It's the color. And it's just because of the, like you said, just because of the release of the Patek. And now this has just gone mad afterwards. And
the real mind blower is that my actual payment for the John Mayer green gold Daytona equals that of what this sold for at Phillips. No, actually, I think it's less, because this was US dollars that this sold for. So
yeah,
how nuts is this? Yeah,
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
it's so stupid. Like,
For a watch that's got cat's whiskers, you know, like look at the 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. I know the 6 o'clock is there too. It's got a goatee as well. You know, it's like
I could not.
A cat and a conquistador together in a watch face.
Cat and a conquistador.
A cat conquistador.
Cat conquistador.
Yeah, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, there's just like, I think for the same price, like you could just get so much more. Like you literally just said, like you could just get like your John Mayer Daytona kind of thing or something like that. And the complication and just like that watch is like, this thing's beautiful, but that watch is so much cooler. Like, I don't know. There's much more history.
That's all a reflection of the hype market and the fact that there's like no watches out there, because the Mayer watch is like way more than that on the, you know, the gray market. But
now it would be, yeah. And that's the same idea too, though. That thing also got hyped up crazily as well, right? It's just, things are going absolute bonkers. I can't even imagine what's going to happen next.
Now, as stupid as this sounds, you know, as soon as this happened, of course, I went and texted my dealer. I was like, this is ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy. I've had so many people commenting and asking me. And I was like, yeah, well, you could add my name to the list. It's never happening. And this time of like, I think he knows that I would probably just not really appreciate it, but that's fine. It's like the lowest on my priority list. It's a hype watch. It is like the epitome of hype watches.
Yeah.
The fact that it's just a simple OP. To me, like if you take a step back objectively, I'd much rather my Explorer 1 than this. But now
Yeah.
I wish that I had asked him for that instead of the Explorer 1 in retrospect.
I don't even like, I'm almost over this watch now because of the hype. Like I kind of enjoyed it before because it was kind of like, it was beautiful and like, it was just like enjoyed and like they had all their different colors and like I thought they were all super cool and unique kind of thing. And now it's just like, I don't know, it's just almost too much now kind of thing. The hype behind it is just like almost ruined it.
Yeah,
it's like when you find a band before they're, you know, famous, right? And then all of a sudden they explode, and like all of the popularity that comes along with their success suddenly, you know, makes you disinterested in them all, you know. I don't know if that's an experience you guys have had before, but it's happened with me.
You were spot on right there, let me tell you, because I was in love with this thing and now I don't even know what to think. I'm pissed off. I'm upset. This is stupid.
The hilarious thing is that this is as pissed off and upset as Peter gets. He still looks like he'd give you a hug right now. Not in a creepy way.
Friendly prairie boy.
Yeah, with the mustache, you know.
With the slightly creepy, but that just put on a mask.
Let's jump off to other unobtainable, ridiculous hype watches. So we talked a little bit about this last episode, how annoyed both Peter and I were about the GShock John Mayer Hodinkee watch. So just to recap, both he and I tried to get the first iteration. It fell through. We were both too late to the program. It sold out in like the first few minutes. And then I even had told Hodinkee after ordering a few other watches that I wanted this and that they should keep me, like just notify me ahead of time and I'll definitely be for it. And then they dropped it all of a sudden at 9 o'clock on a random day. And it was like a year to the T, I think, from the prior one in white. And it didn't quite do anything for me, although I probably would have ordered it in retrospect. And we chatted about it and we were really pissed off about it. And then I realized I was wasting a lot of time on it. And I kept on looking at it. And then I realized I was losing money by just like perseverating on this. So I stupidly looked on the Canadian forums and there was a guy who had it listed for sale right as all of this was dropping and the hype was building for the white one. Well, I looked at the eBay listings and all the like flippers. There's a ton of flippers. Everyone had basically ordered it and immediately listed it on eBay for sale before they even had the watch. So this is like direct scalping. And I think it was roughly around in the 300s range US that people had them listed, 300 plus. And then the old first edition ones, they were random. Like they were asking for really high. I don't know what they were actually trading for. And I saw that in Canada, they had a prior one that was sold for around 300 Canadian. And so I saw that this guy had listed it for like 700 Canadian. I was like, hey, if you want to sell it, I'll buy it from you for say 350 Canadian. And so I kind of sweated him out. And needless to say, I wasted enough time that I just pulled the trigger and I've got something en route. So in the new year, I will be a dipshit who owns a very overpriced GShock. And I finally committed to it.
I love it. No, that's awesome. That's super sick. I think out of all like the GShocks that were unacquirable, that the one like the black version of the John Mayer was by far the coolest. Definitely.
It's the one that I wanted. It still speaks to me way more aesthetically. And it was the original one. I don't really get the inspiration for the white one. It got a lot of criticism and it's not nearly as pure as I think the original one. Here's the problem.
This one's nicer.
The problem is that this created a bit of a problem for me and took me down the GShock spiral. And so I started thinking about Peter and his jellyfish, Cassie Oak. And the issue is that this has now started to influence my plans for Cassie Oak buying. So I started looking around, and it seemed like the purest one was the all blacked out stealth one. And they actually had a promo on the Casio website that for your first purchase, you got 10% off if you signed up to get stupid emails from them.
They're even selling them through Harry Rosen.
It's so accessible. It's everywhere. It's the Bay everywhere. But
That's crazy.
then I saw, and then I put an order in for the black one. And then as soon as I put that order in, I added it to my Instagram tags. And then this fucking thing just showed up on top. And it was like, uh-oh, I think I really like this. There's an artist called Daniel Arsham, and he does like the deconstructed crystal gray things. And he kind of does it for Porsche 911s and for random other pop art things. And this gray 21110 really looks super good to me. So I'm trying to get that one. So I told them to cancel my black order, and I think that I'm going to try to get this because this hasn't exploded in price yet. You can probably get it around 160 roughly to Canada. I think it kind of looks cool, and it's a little bit unique, and it's been discontinued, and it literally was only around in production for less than a year. But we'll see how it looks in person if I can get one for a reasonable price.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think my personal preference is the black one that you had originally chosen. Like, I like the kind of military look that comes along with the all black.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were a black or a red one. And I've watched so many videos. I even watched that guy you hate with the turtleneck. You always make fun of how douchey he is, Teddy Albasar.
Well, I like him, but I still make fun of him, you know.
I'm on the fence. Hey, do you see that one on the
fence?
He actually did a good video of these, and this is like the earth tone series, and yeah, they like discontinued it apparently like last December, I think, but they're still out in the ether. Like you can get them on eBay and Amazon. And so it seems like this would be one to grab before it's all gone, and then people hype it up and it's ridiculous. I think that if it weren't for my stupid hype view of things and limited and discontinued things, the fact that they're not making it anymore, I feel like there's little downside to getting it. But I think that this is going to cause a bit of a domino effect where I'm going to still want the all black one. I think I probably could see myself sporting the all black one more so, but this gray one looks so damn good in some shots. Like there's so many shots of it on Instagram. It's like the hype watch of GShocks, especially now that it's been discontinued.
Hey, well, you got it
suits you,
right?
Sorry?
Sorry to interrupt you, Daniel, but I was saying you got a risk for both.
Yeah.
That's right. I think that the gray or the lighter color will suit you. Just my personal preference is the all black. That being said, I still like this.
I think if I had to have one watch to wear all the time, that was like gonna be my daily driver all the time, I'd probably go the all black. But the fact that now I'm gonna have two G-Shocks, I feel like this is kind of a cool one. I also like the fact that there's like one photo that someone took of this with like the Back to the Future, I don't know, there's like a book or a DVD or something that it was taken with, and it looked so 80s retro. I loved it. So I don't know, we'll see. I think the thing is that when these are around the 100 to 150 range, it's kind of a no-brainer. So I feel like this is the time to try to scoop it up if I'm going to do it.
Agreed.
Speaking of things that I want to scoop up and me being ridiculous and constantly shifting, going into car news, we talked a little bit about the upcoming Civic Type R. There's some more photo releases on the forthcoming Civic Type R that it's suspected that it might be actually shown at the Tokyo Auto Show this month in January 14th. And this is like a new photo from a Suzuka that they released. So I actually just followed up with the dealer and I was like, hey, send me my receipt because I want actual proof that I'm on your list. And apparently I'm number 5 at the dealer. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't think there's any other news other than this is a little bit more toned down and perhaps a little bit more likely that Daniel would be seen in public with me getting out of it.
I think it's all right. I think from what I can see, I like what they've done with the fenders. There's some pretty good stance to those arches.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that'll translate in person to maybe the way that like Audi has kind of pushed out their fenders.
No, it looks good. I hope that it's all smoothed out because it looked like everything was just pasted on in the last generation, right? This, at least with the wrap, it looks like everything is more cohesive and blended and smooth. Although the taillights still look like Kia taillights, which is not a bad thing nowadays. Kia's designs look pretty interesting whenever I see one. But
I agree, except for their new logo.
The Kia logo?
I don't know about that.
I didn't know they changed it.
Take a look. It is weird.
Is it?
I'm all for interesting, but it's weird.
Yeah, I'll say I honestly like out of all the Civics, like there's not many you'd be able to catch me in, but I feel like this new one is definitely something I could maybe be interested in. Definitely looks pretty cool. Well, that's weird.
Daniel, isn't this your tramp stamp?
Looks like K. It looks like K and KN.
I think I've seen that.
I know that it says Kia, but that's only because I know it's Kia.
Yeah, it totally is.
Alternatively, I would think it says KN from a distance.
Yeah.
Kind of looked like it, to be honest. I'm pretty sure I saw that on a car not too long ago and thought it was KN. I was very.
I saw one this morning and I thought that. Yeah.
That's weird. Very weird.
You should tell them.
Screw Kia, man. Like, if someone said to me, I'm going to buy a Kia, I'm going to say, how much time do you have for me to talk you out of it?
Well, they are improving. But
yeah, I mean, so is everybody, though. So they're constantly behind everybody.
Jumping to the other rice rocket. So the Corolla GR that's upcoming. Here's just another leaked photo that popped up on Instagram. It was like in the promo video for the 86 GR. So no real news here other than like it's the closest thing to we're actually seeing it, and everything's pretty blended together. Ultimately, we're probably dealing with another competitor either to the GTI or the Golf R, depending on what that 3-cylinder 1.6 liter engine ends up putting out. But I'm praying that it's going to be about 300 horsepower with the all-wheel drive and the setup that is in the GR Yaris. But I think it looks pretty good. I don't know, some of the prototype photos or like the random like speculative photos seem pretty interesting. So we'll see. I think the Corolla is a good platform. I don't think there's any more news about this, but I'm hoping that things don't completely overlap between the Civic and the GR, because I think I'd go GR and just walk away from the Civic. Problem is that the Civic, I'd be pretty tempted to just go ahead straight forward to flip it. Apparently this might be the pedals, but I don't know. I think that this is more likely the GR86. Would you guys go Type R, or would you go 86 or a GR Corolla?
Probably Toyota.
Yeah, I knew you guys.
I'm a Toyota as well. Yeah, personally, just like Toyota's got the dependability and everything like that. And I've honestly, my next vehicle is probably going to be Toyota. So
you were talking about the Tacoma?
Yeah, unless I've heard a couple, even I lost my battery died. It was like -50 in Lethbridge one day and my battery died. And the AMA driver who came to come give me a boost had a same truck as mine. Then he bought a Tacoma and he was just going on about how much better it was. And I was like, this man's convincing me even more. So
Yeah, I mean, even my Civic was pretty dead until it warmed up a little bit, and then I went and had to get it serviced, had to get the brakes, the rotors done, and I just said throw a block heater in it while you're at it, because it's basically sitting out on the road while the Golf R is parked in the garage.
is the Golf over its braking kilometers now?
It's getting there. It's 700
Ooh.
kilometers. I've been driving it a ton, and it's been crushing winter. It's been actually really enjoyable, to the point where I'm like, well, I'd be totally fine with holding on to this. The thing I was thinking about is, with the market the way it is, it just only makes sense to buy new. And it's a unique opportunity to buy new things for short periods of time that you normally would lose your shirt on immediate depreciation the moment you take it off the lot, even for enthusiast cars. So I think this is a great opportunity. I'll enjoy the R, I'll let it go, not lose my shirt on it, get the Civic Type R, not lose my shirt on it, maybe make a little bit of money, and then go for the GR. I think the GR Corolla is the one to hold on to. I think that's the one that I could just be a complete asshole, drive around and just destroy winter and be able to drive with great utility. The only thing is, though, is like the back seat is supposed to be impractical. There's rumors that perhaps there'll be like a kind of a racy spec that has a rear seat delete, but I think that that's kind of the appeal of it, is a little bit of practicality from my perspective. I've already got crazy cars with rear seat deletes, so. Would you delete the seats on the Corolla?
No, I agree. I agree with you.
I was watching a Harry's Garage video of it, of the GR Yaris, and he was saying that he just folds down the rear seats because they're pretty impractical to him, and then he just uses it as like a van and chucks like wheels in it and stuff. So I think that'd be kind of cool. I could do my, we've talked a little bit about how I end up holding on to things on prior cars. I'd probably keep the mats. I had to buy ridiculously overpriced all-weather mats for that Golf R. I'd probably keep it when I sell it, and then throw it in the back of the GR Corolla, fill the hatch there.
I think that if I was going to be considering a car where I do intentionally do a rear seat delete, suddenly I'm considering other cars that are only two-seaters to begin with. And I think that the like the FRS and the what's it called, the FT86, like the Subaru and the Toyota collaboration, the all new generations coming out, it's actually now appealing, whereas the first generation to me was not appealing, because it was, I drove them many times, and no matter what you did, they never had enough power. It's just a fact. Like, they just had the same amount of power as a normal car. So they didn't feel fast. But the new model, I've not yet driven it. It's got more power. It's less expensive than the cars we're talking about. So if we're going to go for just a two-seater, then that would be something that I would potentially consider, even though it's only rear-wheel drive.
Yeah, the GR86 is apparently getting a ton of hype, and a lot of people have been on the waiting list for it. I think they're pretty cool cars. They definitely get my respect. Apparently the wait list is ridiculous, as is apparently the Golf R. So I'm pretty fortunate to have gotten the first one here.
Once the engine is broken in, which is at how many kilometers, do you think that it could increase the performance enough to keep you from wanting to sell it as soon as you think you would?
So I think that it's about 1,000 kilometers when you can liberalize things. So I'm not too far away from it. And I was initially like rolling on the kilometers, and I was like, should I? And then I was like, what the hell? It's a Golf. This isn't a G-Wagon where you stand to gain a ton of money. This is like, just enjoy it for what it is, especially in the winter. And I was like, oh, should I sell it before I hit 1,000? I was like, forget it. At this point, like, just enjoy it and see what happens. And even if I lose a few $1,000s on it, then so be it. I mean, I've enjoyed my time with it, and at least I can walk away with it with the winter tires maybe, and throw them on the future car. Most likely the future cars that I end up getting will have 19-inch wheels that hopefully will be similar dimensions. But would I keep it because of the break-in and the performance gain? I think that it's in its element because this is a turbo car. Most of the time, the way that I'm driving it right now, which is fairly spirited, but I'm still like trying to keep it well under 5,000 RPM. I think that it's pretty much mostly at its performance level that I would usually use it for. It's not like a GT car where I'm gonna be revving the piss out of it. I think it will be more enjoyable though. And the fact that the weather is going to improve, I can drive it in Nürburgring mode a little bit more. But it's not like a crazy raw car that you want to drive right on the ragged edge like the other cars. I've got those cars, and I think that this is a good balanced car. I would certainly feel the appeal of the other cars even more so if I didn't have cars that did that. I feel like what I'll end up doing is the Civic Type R comes out first, and then I get it, and then I make a decision. Which do I like more? And at that time, I feel like in the summer, Civic Type R is probably going to win. Let go of the Golf R. And then the next all-wheel drive car comes in for the next winter, and I can drive the GR Corolla, and I let go of the Civic Type R. That's my sense of things. Front-wheel drive for the summer, for the daily driver, for very few times. Like, I mean, I want to drive the GT2 all the time now at this point. I mean, I was like, this is a gradient of like practicality, which is ridiculous. F430 manual on good days, right? It's a manual. It's not super practical. That being said, it's fairly user-friendly. Then the GT2, it's way more practical, even though it's 700 horsepower. It's got a front axle lift. It's got all the, driver aids. And it's not completely as shouty as a Ferrari. I feel like I could drive that most days in the summer. And then the Type R when I'm trying not to be an asshole all the time, when I'm not wearing 2 watches and being a dickbag. That's my sense. But I'll still be a great idea. Type R. I mean, it'd be a rice boy kind of car. But
you made me just wonder how that McLaren GT's handling in this minus 35.
Larry's McLaren GT is his new winter beater. Right?
This is a new winter beater.
Larry is Peter's family doc, who also hangs out at the Porsche dealer very often, and sometimes comes up and pisses off the Porsche service people by parking in their bay. But tell us a little bit about Larry, Peter. You know Larry the best.
Yeah, he's quite definitely a interesting fellow. I've known him for quite a while. He's like interesting, not in a bad way, just like interesting and like he's like he's just very unique kind of thing. It's like
Larry's not watching this. Nobody watches this.
No. And he's got how many supercars? 4 supercars. A McLaren GT. I don't even know what he has at this point. He has a Ferrari. He has a.
He bought a 458 black, right? You mentioned he bought from Faf.
And he has his Huracan still.
And he has a GT3, I think.
He has a GT3, yeah.
And then 1.2.
Yeah, and he has, and then the McLaren GT. So he has 5 cars. I think he has 5 cars right now.
He used to winter drive a Cayman, right?
I was going to ask about that. Yeah, did he sell that one and replace it with the McLaren for the winter?
Yeah, he replaced it with the McLaren.
The Cayman was way too practical.
Yeah.
It's one of the most ridiculous people I've ever met.
I mean, I feel like an asshole.
Way too many nice cars.
Hilarious, but I'm just saying, driving a crazy performance car in the winter. And I'm like, oh, my beater is a Golf R. When people are like, this is an amazing car, right? And it is. I'm just like, That's what I'm gonna drive around in awful weather conditions. But
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day. I almost wanted to text and be like, so how's the McLaren handling in this weather? Because I don't think like those cars don't have block heaters or anything like that. So like you would be like, yeah, like I don't know, like he parks it underground, but I don't know how it would handle at work all day.
that's
Like
crazy.
8 hours and minus 35 or whatever.
That's nuts. Well, I mean, most new cars will crank, but
He'll start, and he would probably start it too. I mean, how
but
like
in the minus 40, I'm pretty sure McLaren doesn't really do any car development at that kind of,
that's what I was thinking. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, really. I don't think they do their like high speed testing when it's minus 35 to minus 55.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I saw in the news recently that you guys are getting hammered with some serious winter. Freeze the Daytona off your wrist.
The Golf R's traction control is spot on. Like it's very predictable, and it's always there to bail me out, even when I'm in Nürburgring mode. I try to keep it out of that when there's other cars around me. But it's really showing its stars. It does so well in this shitty weather. I'm sliding around with perfectly controlled slides. I look like I'm drifting all the time. So it's like a really fun kind of rally car experience, but still with some luxury appeal. So I like it a lot. And actually, there was just recently a Doug DeMuro video review of the Golf R, but he did the DSG automatic, and he basically had a similar impression about it, and he ranked it really highly as far as like non-supercar cars. I think it was actually number one when he did the daily aspect and the fun aspect, and he had similar impression that it's a small evolution from the prior Golf R. It's not super visceral, and it's very well rounded. It doesn't do one thing amazingly, but it does a lot of things well, and that's why you buy it. If you got to be practical and you got to be a grown up, but you still want a little bit of performance, then it's a great car. But like he said, there's a few Achilles heel. I think that I'm aligned with him. The fact that he was kind of saying it's not too bad, but it's mainly the interface and the interior where it kind of has a bit of downfall. But I like the fact that probably they did some cost cutting with the interior to put more into the development of the all-wheel drive system. So to me, I think it's a great car, especially in Canada when the pricing is almost the same as the US pricing. I think it is like a no-brainer car, especially when financing was 1.99%. So it was just nuts. Like I was like, why would I buy it myself when your lending rates are just ridiculously low? So I think it was a cool car to own. At least right now, I see no reason why I would get rid of it unless I've got a good replacement. Yeah. So resolutions, any plans for the new year to change your lives or your collections? This can be completely open. Daniel's getting a Land Rover and fully doing the hipster embracing of an old man going through a midlife crisis, realizing that he needs to be able to conquer everything and break down everywhere.
Thank you for the highest of compliments that you could have given me. I look forward to that future. It feels like a destiny at this point. So you'll be able to find me in a farmer's field somewhere, not stuck.
You mean a farmer's market?
Down. Yeah, no, these will never get stuck in a field, but if they break down, yeah, that's where you'll find me.
Then they're stuck.
Yeah, I'll be somewhere in England, broken down by a river in a field. But no, in order to avoid that, I will be putting some effort into doing a little bit of work on my Benz. the radio just died on it a few weeks back. So I have just found the only one that was up for sale online in Canada. It's in this bag here.
Ooh, bag of radio. Awesome.
Oh yeah, there's the head unit in there, as we call it in the industry. And I don't know if I'll get it in tomorrow or not, but hopefully in the next week I'll get that set up. Try and avoid any kind of electrical complications.
Is it an OEM head unit?
Yeah, it's out of the exact same car that I have. There was a guy online selling it who lives not too far from me.
Who stole it out of your car?
No, this is in better shape than the one that was in my car before it died.
Good.
My car is like extremely low mileage and drives very well, but for whatever reason, a few things just like have completely failed on it lately. So it's been quite reliable. It's it's over 20 years old now, and it's just that time when electronics start to die.
It does not look
trying to
like
find things before they disappear.
Yeah,
sorry?
Awesome. It does not look like it's 20 years old. It is very well maintained.
Yeah, I try and keep it in good shape and to drive it as much as needed without overdriving it. And I do all of the maintenance with one of the guys at BMW in Mini Downtown. So it's well taken care of by experts, and I've taken it into the Mercedes dealership several times as well to have services done on it to make sure everything's good. So when at some point when I decide to part with it, I hope the next person who owns it will have a good running, like a car that runs well that they can enjoy. Because I like to look at myself as a custodian of a car while I own it.
The opposite of me, like where I'm feeling in the stereo. I'm like, fuck that guy.
No. Like years ago, there was a movie that came out, The Beast, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that was like about rally racing, right? And one of the people that they interview is Jeremy Clarkson, right? And the question is like, you totaled your car. Should you spend the money on fixing it, or should you just get rid of it? And Jeremy Clarkson's like, that car was fine before you met it. You have a responsibility now to fix it, because it was fine until you showed up and then you destroyed it. So fix it, and that's kind of like the attitude I have. So if I break something on it, I'll fix it, and I'll make sure to take care of it, because I don't think, I don't know, I like to try and live by a certain code of ethics to not pass on problems to the next owner.
It's completely different from mine. I have ethics around human beings, not cars.
You live by a code.
Yeah.
My code is get out without losing your shirt, get into something more exciting. Fuck that other guy. Unless it's a family member or friend.
Of course, those are safe.
Or anybody who's listening. Anyone who is an audience member who might be buying a car from me in the future.
I'll give you the best price.
Best Golf R. There's nothing wrong with it. There are no mats missing out of it. Not steal the fucking manual. It's all good.
This is #1 Golf R in all of Canada.
#1.
#1.
Peter, what's your resolution? You've got major life events, being the youthful one.
Yeah, I don't really, I don't know. I don't even know. I haven't thought about like New Year's resolutions or anything like that yet. I usually kind of just slide past that one. But if like for watch news, no ideas in the future, to be honest. Anything that I thought, like we were just talked about, the Oyster Perpetual, that was one point in my future sights, or is now completely out of sights. Maybe what I'll look at is like the secondary, possibly obtainable option. I don't think it is obtainable because I've looked on the couple, like tried to find it, but that like, you know, that carbon doxa, the blue dial, they should look into something like that. I don't know, maybe because I like that blue dial is just like still something, but it's
I didn't realize that you really wanted that. Oh, did I tell you guys already on the prior episode? They emailed me and they were like, "Hey, we're having another release." And I was
I don't know.
That's
Can't
all.
remember.
That I didn't really want. It's not that I really want. It's the fact that I'm like now trying to think of what.
Now you're trying to find another blue replacement.
Yeah, I gotta find a replacement. I gotta find some motivation here. So that's gonna be I don't know, something like that. Car news. I'm gonna drive the truck till it dies at this point to save my money, and then probably get a Tacoma at some point.
But you're gonna become a medic. That's
I know.
Oh
yeah,
that's
the most exciting. No, I was working towards that. Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be probably one of the biggest things in March or something like that. I'll be graduated, so that'll be exciting, and then hopefully trying to get a job as a medic here in Alberta, which is cool. And kind of side note, but this would be interesting. But I actually just chatted with, I know someone else who works, Dorothy at the Tom Baker Cancer Center. She actually moved to a different thing, but she reached out about volunteering actually at the cancer center. So I think I'm going to start doing that in the new year too. Nice. I can't remember what it was because I read it at like 6 o'clock this morning as I was like fogged out before work, but I'm going to reread it after this. And I think I'm going to respond and probably do some of
I think it's a position where you come and you bring me coffee and I just
exactly.
I just lay there and I go, come Peter.
Yeah, quick.
Bring me coffee.
More coffee.
Polish my watch for me. Don't polish it, just clean it. Don't you fucking take a marking off of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that'll depreciate the unpolished. All of my watches are unpolished except for the 5513. That one's definitely polished.
But Rick, get over here. I need a footstool.
Human footstool, please.
Yeah, no, other than that though, nothing too crazy. I'm excited to get a job and get back into get out of the, I mean, I guess either way it'll still be COVID craziness, but kind of switch gears from the whole COVID craziness to more of the I guess more COVID craziness. Doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So
I wish that, I here's my wish of a resolution and here's my actual practical resolution. It's not resolution, it's just what I see in the future. Here's my wish. My wish is that we could do this all in person and that we were all in the same town and Daniel was here to come and give me bear hugs and punches on the shoulder when I'm a dick about his cowboy hat and his Land Rover hipster future, all in good love and jest. But it'd be kind of cool if we really were able to fully make this a go. I mean, we're doing this every week and we're enjoying it, and we're just doing it for the sheer enjoyment and the one guy who listens to this. But it'd be kind of cool to do this like for a real serious go, and then like it'd be kind of cool if we like got sponsored, and then I'd be like, all right, well, we're sponsored, fuck it, we're getting matching G-Shocks. I'm buying everyone matching G-Shocks, and we'll just charge it to the corporation, which doesn't exist because we don't make any fucking money off of this. In fact, lose money. The amount of time I'm fucking spending thinking about watches that I shouldn't be buying. Like, why the fuck am I buying multiple G-Shocks? But anyways, I guess I'm gonna have 3 Casios pretty soon. That's my stupid pipe dream of something that would be super cool, that has no impact on my practical aspirations. But
I was hoping that you'd say we'd get sponsored by a tattoo parlor, because you guys are already like lit up. So I thought maybe like the next step would be for all 3 of us to get matching face tattoos.
Oh yeah. Well, we should all get matching tramp stamps with the Kia emblem. We can match each other.
Why do you have KN on your back?
Well, let me tell you, it is a story. Oh, speaking of that, one of my buddies, this is definitely a story for even here. But one of my buddies has like legitimately your name tattooed on his ass. Like actually says your name. So they'll go up to people and be like, I have your name tattooed on my ass. They'll be like, no way. And then they'll pull down his pants and it actually says your name.
How drunk was that decision?
I don't know. Probably very. I can't even imagine. Probably woke up the next morning and saw it.
That's some dude, where's my car stuff?
Oh yeah.
It's all a very elaborate effort to be clever.
Yeah, that didn't go very well.
It's ironic, man.
It's funny, right? It's funny because, you know, it's your name and it's actually your name, but it says your name. But
You ever had a
Probably
friend get a new tattoo and then get all excited to show it to you, and then they show it to you and you look at it and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
like what the fuck did you do?
Oh yeah.
You know,
I
it's terrible feeling.
I totally had a friend who fucked me over on that too. He was just like, it was the writing on this arm, or it was the writing on this arm. I can't remember. It was like, there was like a slight stick that was missing out of M, because my tattoo says in time. And he's like, in time? I'm like, go fuck yourself. And then I had to go get it corrected.
What prison did you get that in?
In time, you know, it's a great spice. What's my practical real life aspiration for next year? That we continue to do this. I think that I've got a resolution to maintain this and continue to make the time, because I think it's always really enjoyable. I gotta say, you know, Daniel, you are the only friend I can think of who I regularly have, you know, constant interactions and enjoyable moments with, despite geography. So it's an enjoyable motivation to keep on making the time, even though I'd still make the time. But most of the time, I'm just a dick with anybody who is in another province. So it gets to be
Speaking of
challenging.
dicks, don't tell my friends and family that you said that.
That I make time.
They're all gonna think, they all think that I don't text with anybody.
Oh yeah.
Now they know I text with some people. Oh no, gig is up.
It's all for the job. It's all for that shmoney. We're making it rain for that eventual one sponsor to sell dick pills. But
one day we're gonna be racing Bugattis on airstrips.
That's right.
Everyone's got to start somewhere.
One day.
Hey.
Yeah, we already got a doctor on the team, so we're doing pretty good.
My aspiration for next year, car wise though, so my mom is moving out from Ontario, and she'll be I basically helped her with the down payment of the house, and so they're kind of like, well, we'll repay you in a different way, where we're gonna make a garage and you get a spot in the garage. And so that means more cars. So my aspiration is to have 3 sports cars plus a practical car plus the wife's car in the new year, whatever that might be. But I do have a vision of like having a raw modern sports car like the GT2. The 430 manual is never going anywhere unless I get a Carrera GT or something. And having an air-cooled 911, I think, would be a cool like pocket that's kind of missing. Something that's a little bit nuanced, maybe doesn't work that often, but is like a time warp that brings me right back to like nostalgia. And then a practical sports car like the GR Corolla. That's
You'd be interested in having something you could work on a bit yourself?
I like that idea of the air-cooled car, that I could like work on that. Unfortunately, like the market is just so stupid that like I'm never gonna get that unless things cool down. So that's like a long-term dream.
When would that timeline though be? Like literally about 1 year from now?
Probably a year, or maybe even a couple. I mean, the pandemic isn't gonna be gone in a year, but we'll see what happens with supply chains in the market. I think eventually something's got to correct, and something's gonna give. We'll see. I mean, at the very worst case scenario, I have 2 ridiculous new modern pocket rockets like a Golf R and a Type R, or a Type R and a GR Corolla, and then but then I don't really see the point in that. Maybe like an E39 M5 or something like that. Something stupid stupid that I don't really often need to have, but something different. That's kind of my aspiration, to have that one extra spot, because I will have that garage spot, and that will be like a car that I don't often use, but it'll be kind of cool to have sometimes.
I'll tell you right now, I miss the E39 that I had every single day still. It's been 5 years or so since I've sold it. And I like, no joke, I miss it every single day. It was the most fun car that I've ever driven, that was under, under 150 or under 200 grand basically. And then the way that this 4-door sedan handles and puts down the power is just, it's unreal, so if an E39 M5 comes up and it's an option, it's something that should be strongly considered, I think. I would be strongly considering it.
I keep my eyes out for it, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool, boys. Well, with that's the end of 2021. We'll be leading off with great aspirations and even more endeavors in the future, and even more douchey phrasing and things, and mostly dick jokes for 2022. Next time I see you, I think I'll be sporting a G-Shock.
Hey,
it will probably be on my right wrist, because I feel like the G-Shock is like one of those watches where it's like, could I get away with wearing 2 watches? I mean, I can't wear 2 Rolexes, but I feel like maybe you could wear a G-Shock and a Rolex. No. Probably not to work. No. Okay. Good old Daniel to bring me back down to reality. Thanks.
2 Rolexes is better than 1.
Definitely.
If you got 2 wrists and 2 rollies.
My favorite.
Otherwise, it's 1 G-Shock, because you're worried about smashing your wrist against stuff. My
favorite double wristing was like hanging out with you and picking you up like in the GT3 RS lizard green with 1 watch on 1 wrist and 1 watch on the other, and just like throwing you the other Rolex and being like, you're wearing that for this drive.
Yeah, try it out for the day.
No,
yeah, it's pretty like, nerve-wracking.
It's pretty cool, like seeing someone else wear your watch, or seeing someone else drive your watch, drive your car, drive your watch. What the fuck are you doing with my watch? Yeah,
I know that feeling
with it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's nice to be able to share things like,
especially the ones that rip out the hairs and then you can use for manscaping.
Here, put these 2 watches on for a little bit. Your wrists are getting a little bit too much for me to handle.
Ever since you gave me that Kermit back, I've been very itchy. I've got you need to
vacuum a watch after I wear it.
We're going to send you some treatment. I think you might have crabs.
I hope not.
There was a real serious look on your face. Like that was actually reality. But
life throws curveballs at you in all sorts of ways. You never know. You never know when a crab sneaks up on you.
Curveballs and crabs. Also, another close runner-up to pop it off on the 3 aficionados slogans.
Cruising with crabs.
Well, boys, cheers and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Cheers.
That's the end of 2021. Thanks again for tuning in to the one listener who hopefully is not Larry. And if Larry is listening, we love you, Larry. But fuck you about the McLaren GT in the winter. Really? Are you shitting me? Okay.
And screw you for cutting me off that one time.
Peace, boys.